What's up, guys? It's Chris here. Welcome to the channel. I have two very special guests today to talk about probably one of the biggest NFT games that's coming to the space and is already established in the space. They recently had a huge announcement that we're going to talk about on this interview, and we're just going to talk about the game and everything about it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. We have Scott Herman and Ian Bentley. What is up, guys?
Yo, what's going on?
How are you, Chris? What's happening, man?
I'm great. I've been listening to the Twitter Spaces, following the recent announcements. I've heard about WAGMI games from my friend Kyle Wilson like for a while, like for maybe a couple months. But I just now like the last few weeks have really been like diving in to try to like understand everything, and I just get more excited every time I find a space and listen in.
That's why we've been doing the WAGMI Wednesdays literally for over a year now. I mean, we've missed a couple because of events that we've been at that we just couldn't get on the space for WAGMI Wednesday. But I think we maybe missed like two out of the last year of doing consistent WAGMI Wednesdays every Wednesday.
Man.
I only remember missing one.
You think so?
Yeah, I think one. We were at ETH Denver, and right when we got there, we had one of our community members who helped actually set up the entire booth. And then he's like, hey, so the TV that we got for you is broken, and it's this 85-inch TV. And he's like, I don't have anybody to help me like take the broken one down. And then we're like, well, we happen to have some muscle here with Scott. So
Ayo.
We got that TV down so fast.
right?
Two things real quick. I did forget to announce your official position. Scott is the Director of Talent Acquisition, and Ian Bentley is the CEO. How did ETH Denver go, by the way?
ETH Denver was great. Not to toot our own horn, but we had a lot of people swing by the booth and tell us that our booth was not only one of the best booths there, but our game was the most fun to play. And the strategy with our booth was we just wanted to have people come into this immersive environment. So I had the Human Emperor helmet here. We had that at the booth. It lights up. The eyes and the ears light up. That was on the center of the booth. We had our comic books all over the place. People were reading the comics. And then what we did was we got two iPads so that people could battle each other in live, right? And then one of the iPads was streaming to a 55-inch TV that was in front of the booth. So people were walking by and they're like, oh, wow, is that like a looped gameplay of your game? And we're like, no, that's live right now. You want to try? They're like, hell yeah. So people were lining up to play the game at the booth. And, I've worked at booths a long time with my supplement brand that I'm sponsored by, like Arnold and Olympia. And one of the things, obviously, that you always notice if you work a convention is like, lines get long and people, when they get to the end of the line, they want to make sure they can be immersed in the experience, not just kind of like push through after they've gotten your spiel and told to buy stuff. And so we came to ETH Denver with the intent of, we're a gaming company. Let's make sure people can play our game and have fun. Yeah, and that's what we did.
And usually you have the blinders. You have the blinders that people look down at the carpet. Most conventions, like, oh, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Everybody was just like, dude, this is pretty awesome. Which was cool about the whole entire Web3 community, right? People are there to learn about different things and see what you got and actually be social, as opposed to some conferences where you're like, okay, we're here to talk about dish soap. All right, well,
yeah.
I did people talking to me about dish soap and stuff like that. So
I did make it out to Miami for the Art Basel, which NFT Now hosted their Gateway. I think that was what it was called, conference. And it was really good. Gary Vee spoke, a couple of other really good people, and just being able to meet some of the community. I hope to be able to meet you guys at a future event. The events are so cool. I also work with NFT Now on Spaces, and I know Scott's joined us a couple times to talk about WAGMI games. It's been great having you there. They're launching their NFT pass this week as well, but that's for a different conversation. I'm really glad to have you guys on. I do want to say I'm not sure if everyone here is familiar with WAGMI games. So before just kind of diving into some of the recent announcements and maybe some more of the detailed stuff, do you just want to talk a little bit about the game? And I can even bring up maybe some gameplay for people to see. That way they kind of have a reference point for like what we're talking about.
Yeah, 100%. So actually, it'd be great if you could bring up the gameplay from the last Battle Royale that I did on my YouTube channel, Older Humanity. And that's something that we've been trying to do at least bi-weekly, where I bring on a few other creators. In fact, the last one I had, I think 8 or 9 other creators joined me on the live stream and just literally battling each other for an hour straight. And what's so cool about our beta is it's open to everyone. So we would actively be battling each other, talking smack, and then randomly, someone in the comment section would join a battle. And then, whether they won or lost, there was a conversation happening in the comment section. So just this really immersive experience, even with the live streams. But, as far as gameplay is concerned, we're a tower defense game where, you have 3 towers on the left, 3 towers on the right. And the goal is to drag and drop your characters on the map. And the strategy is knowing what the characters do, how fast they move, what their attacks are, and then, drag, drop on the map, let them do their thing and try to get across to destroy the middle tower. So the terminology that we like to use is easy to play, hard to master, which if you're here, I know you play Clash of Clans, Clash Royale. It's very similar. Anyone, like my mom tried WAGMI Defense, and within the first minute, she already knew how to play the game. She got wrecked. No mercy for mom. But
dude, I love that concept though. Like easy to play, like hard to master. I even like one of my favorite sports is disc golf, and it's so easy to pick up and play. Anybody can do it. But like to get to that next level, like where you're actually like very competitive is, takes a while. But that's a very like mass adoption mindset, in my opinion, of like, oh, well, if anybody can play this, then they'll just be able to pick it up and play.
Well, that's our entire strategy is mass adoption.
Heck yeah.
Obviously, we love the Web3 community. We're rooting for everybody to win, right? But we're a very itty bitty community in the grand scheme of things. Statistically, I think maybe there's 97% of the world that doesn't even know what a NFT is or MetaMask or anything like that. So the way we've looked at this entire project from the beginning is to make it so that there's no friction as far as people to come in to play the game. Make it so that it's accessible. Obviously, we're going to be the app stores, making it so if people do want to purchase something, they can just pay with regular money. They don't need crypto. But at the same time, all the things that we've done that are actually fairly complicated on the back end to make it as incredibly simple for the user is, setting up things like a custodial wallet. So therefore, anybody who comes in the game automatically gets a wallet, right? Doesn't matter if you're in crypto or not. And then at the same time, anytime you purchase anything, and again, you can pay it with right through the app store with regular money. We're just doing the airdrops directly into that custodial wallet through Immutable X's gasless platform. And therefore, we can know exactly what something's going to cost us. We don't have to worry about the gas fees or network fees or anything like that. And all of a sudden, there's a big mint and, a $5 asset in the game is all of a sudden $15 to the consumer. We recognize that early. We said if we want people to actually want to come in and play the game, we can't have those variables that are going to turn people off. And at the same time, there's a lot of anti-sentiment towards NFTs, a lot of anti-sentiment towards crypto, Ponzi scheme, play to earn, a lot of those things. So our entire strategy is just straight up like have a super fun game that's really fun to play. It's a very quick game loop, 3 minutes long, and then have the benefits of the technology on the back end that if somebody does want to trade, if somebody is interested in potentially monetizing their digital collectibles, then at that point, that's when those people actually come into play and say, all right, or our funnels come into play saying, hey, listen, it's all good. You can go ahead and do this. And here's how you do it, as opposed to just leading with what we feel is most of the Web3 games of it's all about making money. It's all about floor price. It's all about the cost of NFTs. And we just feel like in order to have true mass adoption, you have to appease to the 95% of the people who just aren't in it for the money. They're just in it to have a good time. But at the same time, when it's all said and done, if it's apples to apples and you say, should I play this game versus this game? This game, I actually own the assets. This game, I don't. Well, then at that point, it starts to become a no-brainer. But you have to be able to allow people to play those kinds of games first and have no friction in order to have that conversation with any consumers. And that's pretty much our strategy to go to market.
I love it. And I love that you chose Immutable X. Immutable X is also, I think they on the site, they declare 100%. It's like 99.9% carbon neutral. So like the whole like NFTs are bad for the environment thing. It produces less carbon than like what most people do in their everyday routines. And then, like you said, it's extremely cheap. It's like it's less than a credit card fee when you're buying a coffee at wherever. So super glad that you guys chose Immutable X. It's really exciting. I do want to show like a quick gameplay. You guys could talk about it, and then I mean I have a lot of questions and a lot more to talk about. But if either of you just kind of wanted to explain the gameplay, or Scott, if you have a like a certain point of this stream, I do have the stream pulled up that you recommended. If you have like a certain point for me to go to.
Dang. I mean, I would just probably scroll to like maybe a quarter of the way in, because in the beginning we were chatting about some stuff, right? It'd be nice if you were able to, if you land on the match where I was fighting Nick. Oh no, this is where I was fighting Justin, and he actually beat me. So there was one battle where I was battling Nick. He's Nick Decker. He's one of the guys in the top left corner of the screen, and he was absolutely destroying me. But he let my alien emperor go unnoticed across the map, and he was so sure that he was gonna win because he literally had almost all of his health left. I was down to like the last 300, and he was attacking my middle tower, and my alien emperor just came through and ended up sneaking in and getting to his middle tower and destroying it. And when the game was over, I literally had 75 hit points left.
I love that.
And he was like, "What happened?" I was like, "Dude, you weren't paying attention. You know, you were so focused on destroying my middle tower that the alien emperor did work." And he was so mad. But yeah, throughout the entire stream, you know, we were all able to just kind of mix and match our characters. This is beta, so there is a level up system for the characters right now. So you definitely want to make sure if you're playing the beta that you follow along in the beginning of this video, because I do talk about how to level up the characters. And we'll be creating that type of content as we move forward as well, and as a more polished version of the game is created as we get closer to launch. But yeah, as you can see, all you have to do is build your deck. It's 5 cards in a deck. And as you're playing the game, you're finger dragging the cards on the bottom of the screen up to the battlefield. And you're trying to place them in a strategic way to not only defend as the enemies are coming in, but then also push your characters across. So actually, this is some footage right here of me rebuilding my deck because I just lost to Justin.
Oh, sorry. Fast forward a little bit.
Oh, you good? Okay, good.
Yeah, I talked to Scott beforehand. I did play. I was max on Clash Royale. I spent way too much time, like 3 years of my life, on the game. So I'm very familiar with this this play style, and I love it. It's super addicting. And like Scott said, there's always those moments to where like you're not paying attention, or like the last tower has like a couple HP or whatever. Because there's so many things to pay attention to, and it's so strategic on what cards to use.
Well, one of the things that we, in the last build that we updated, is in the last like 30 seconds, it starts to speed up the energy production. So then you get so focused on trying to win and dropping your cards really fast that's when you start to make mistakes. And that's when the experience really kicks in. And that's what happened to Nick. He just got too greedy, dropping all his units.
So question for you, Chris. Have you actually had any battles on WAGMI Defense yet?
So I downloaded it and I have it. I have not had any battles. I've just watched gameplay, and the reason I haven't had any battles is just because I haven't had the time to like go to the Discord and try to find somebody to battle. If there was like a simulator, I would have done it like crazy. I just haven't made the step to actually go through with that.
Great.
Kyle actually joined a live stream too.
He did. Kyle did. Yep.
Yeah. And those are the things that we're actually developing right now, right? So we've got the gameplay pretty much, other than the balancing, and that's a lot of the things that are going into soft launch. But getting the guys like Esteban and Brent on board onto the team, which we can talk about in a second. It's really just now having that experience to then say, okay, great. Going into soft launch, what are those little nuances that we need to do in order to make sure that when somebody comes on board, that they can just play? One of the things that we want to do is have the auto battler, right? You can actually go in and start playing the game immediately. And that's one of the things that we're really developing right now. So we get into soft launch, so we don't have the problem with what we have with test flight, which, by the way, it's test flight where it's PvP. So, you have to battle somebody else to get the feel of it. And we needed to get those statistics and understand what the mechanisms and the statistics of each character and each card are before we can actually program the computer to then have some fair battles as far as just the auto battler against a computer.
I did build a deck, and I did like play with the app a lot. I just never made the step to actually do a battle. I was joking with Kyle. I was like, man, I'm too antisocial for this. Like, because at the end of the day, like when I'm just so tired, when I have time to play games, I'm just like, I don't feel like messaging somebody. But that's just, I'm definitely going to try it out. I know one of the things that people are probably thinking, and I actually had this asked a few times before the stream. Do you need to own any of the, I know you guys have two sets. You have the Genesis NFT so far, and then you have the comics. Do you need to own any assets to play the game?
No. We're
Just
taking
clearing that up for everybody that's listening.
Yeah, we're taking the approach where so our comic, and Scott can talk about the comic. He loves talking about the comic. Our Genesis NFT, really the utility there is if you have a Genesis NFT, that would be a pretty good time to pick one up because you're actually getting all of the assets within the game. So anybody who does own a Genesis NFT, part of the utility is not having to purchase any of the NFTs or the digital collectible cards that you can play with, and you're getting all of that into your game account. So we'll have the ability for you to just, we don't like to use the word staking, but it's really more locking up your NFT, which you can unlock immediately if you want. But at that point, at least we can identify what your actual game or your game name is, and then be able to then airdrop the NFTs directly. So that's part of the utility of it, but it's not a requirement by any means. So we've got the Genesis NFTs. And then as far as the comic is concerned, we've got some cool things that we've created utility for the NFT comic collection. So Scott, you could probably speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, well, this is the Genesis collection right here. So for the gamers that are listening, one of the other cool things about owning a Genesis NFT is you're going to get exclusive gold armor for the alien and human emperor. And there's only going to be 3,022 sets because there's 3,022 of these Genesis NFTs. So, I mean, that's what I geek out over, obviously, like collectibles. So,
yeah.
A year from now, when you're about to play a match and all of a sudden, someone drops a gold, alien emperor on the board, you're gonna be like, what the heck? What the hell is that? Yeah, exactly. Like I'm about to get my butt whooped. So cool things like that. Also, our first tournament is going to be for Genesis NFT holders. It's gonna be a $10,000 grand prize.
Wow.
So it's gonna be really competitive because we have a lot of people have been playing the beta since last year, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll stream it as well. So there are some added benefits, and also the comic book, which you can pull that up next.
Yeah, I have it already.
If you owned a Genesis NFT, it was part of owning one is future whitelist opportunities. And so if you owned a Genesis, you automatically were whitelisted for one of the comics. Now, what's really cool about the comics is we were the world's first readable in-browser comic. So you can click on any one of these 5,973 comics and you can open it and read it. And so then, why own the comic if you can just read it here? Well, if you own it,
hear the page turn.
You can hear the page turning too. Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
So if you own the NFT and it's in your wallet while you're playing the game, you'll be able to actually lock it and get a comic exclusive war chest every single month. That's going to have in-game items and NFTs inside. And there was 6 different covers. So the most rare, and again, so there's going to be different war chests that you get for the different rare abilities of the comic covers. So as you can see, as you scroll through here, there's a few different cover variations. It's the same comic, same story. We just wanted to make it fun and have different covers.
Yeah.
So can I repeat that one part just to clarify? So if you have one of these comics, you can lock it, and if you lock it, you get a chest, you get a special chest.
Yep. You get a comic exclusive in-game war chest with in-game items like in-game soft currency, NFTs, things like that.
Is that a one-time deal or is that concurrent?
Every month?
Monthly. It's monthly.
Okay.
And what's cool about it is it'll be special edition comic art. One of the things that we really wanted to do is we wanted to take what's really popular about like a Pokemon, right? And say, okay, there's collectibles, there's rare abilities, there's commons, and then take that same kind of mentality into the digital realm. So, by having things like, Scott said, as soon as we actually go to soft launch and we release all the assets in the game, and we have those 3,022 gold emperors, right? Those gold emperors, that's it. Like, we're not going to release those gold emperors. We might do a different version of them later, but there's only going to be in the founders pack, the gold emperor.
Yeah.
Same with the comics, right? We wanted to create this utility. So there's a reason why gamers, once people are into this game and they're like, this is awesome, I can own this digital comic, right? You're big into comics and collectibles with Vivi. The one thing that we really wanted to do is say, okay, cool, what else can we add to that to make it so that you can't buy it from us? Like, you're just going to get it by owning something, which is just going to be those comics. So the comic art will only be available through owning one of the comics, right? So that every time you're playing, let's say let's say you luck out and get a General Stamima or something like that, which, by the way, that's my name in the game. Let's say you get a General Stamima comic art, right? Well, at that point, before you battle, you can see everybody's deck, and you can see exactly what cards they have. And you'll see if they have a gold emperor, or if they've got a comic, and you're going to be able to almost flex every single time you play somebody just by being, look at my deck. I have all rares in my deck.
Look how pretty it is.
Right. So super fun. We're trying to add all those collectible elements into it to make it so that it's not only the game, but it's also the collectability of it. And obviously we can talk about our characters and the IP and the franchise and the story and all the things that we are going to be doing with, evolving the characters, and even real life stuff we can talk about as far as, what we're going to be doing in New York in April. It's going to be super fun.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Man, there's one comment. Yeah, you're talking to somebody who just bought like a scenery on Clash of Clans like recently, just so I'd have this like different like edging of my base, much less like something that I actually own. Yeah, that's huge. Let me see. I lost my notes for a second. Sorry guys, too many tabs.
There's so much to talk about with this franchise. We've been building for the last 15 months, just building and building and building, and getting to this point where now there's just so much to talk about. There's so many assets, and that's been the whole strategy with this project, is to make it so that it doesn't matter if you are 100% a gamer, or if you like collectibles, or you like story, or you like comics. It's really just about, there's so many different ways that we can get people involved into the franchise. And of course, playing the game is super important, right? We want to make sure we get the game right, because that is the genesis of the entire project. But all of the different ways you can say, okay, I can identify with this character because of X, Y, and Z, or I really just like the style of the comic, or maybe even in the future anime stuff that we might be doing. So little alpha right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad you said that. I heard you guys talk about that on Twitter Spaces, and like this is going to be the very last question. We're going to talk about some like long-term vision and speculation. But yeah, that was super exciting when I heard about that. And also, like you said, there's so much to cover, and especially because some of my viewers have never heard about you guys until now. And then I see that you guys brought some people too. I know Kayla for sure. I'm just kind of looking. We got Johnny. Yeah, we got a few guys from your team, but we're kind of playing catch up. What is WAGMI Games? What are the NFTs? How do I play? How do I get involved? Kind of a more recent thing though is you just had a really big announcement. I was actually in that Twitter space for the announcement. Do you guys want to talk about that? Maybe how it happened or what it means for the company moving forward?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, we just had some major players join our team that's going to help us elevate things to the next level. And, Chris, we were talking about this a bit before the stream started. And what I think and what our team thinks was truly missing in Web3 is that Web2 experience.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in Web3 seems to be able to build a game and make it look cool. But how do you make sure that it's fun to play and will be fun to play for years to come? And you really got to dig and get that experience. And so we just onboarded Brent Pease and Esteban Gil. And these guys, I mean, from day one, came in and just shook things up in a way that I like. I like being challenged.
Yeah.
Ian talks about this as well quite a bit. He likes being challenged. Brent was the director of operations over at EA, right? He was the founder of Industrial Toys. This guy has 30 years of experience at Apple, Bungie Studios, DreamWorks Animation. I mean, he comes from a place where he looked at our game, And I think actually that's something to talk about too, Ian, is, not only did these guys join our team, but they looked at what we have built over the last 14 months and said, these bones are great. I can build on this.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a really good compliment to us and our team and our hard work and our community over the last year. And then Esteban was the senior game product manager over at Respawn. And he had been working on titles like Free Fire and Apex Legends, was actually on the team that helped bring Apex Legends to be the #1 grossing game in the Apple and Google Play Store last year. So the experience that these guys have and they bring to the table is exactly what Web3 needs.
Yeah. And the one thing that, to us, so obviously we've been grinding to get this project to the point where it is. And one of the things that, as going into the soft launch, actually going into global launch, really want to competing with Web 2 games. We want to compete. It doesn't matter if it's Web 3 or Web 2. We want to compete on the global level. And there's just so many attributes that these gentlemen bring to the table that honestly, we had no idea just how intricate some of the strategies are. Just how intricate some of the monetization and the mapping and the live ops. And, we talked about it, Scott, right? Hey, yeah, we're going to have live ops. Woohoo, it's going to be awesome. But when you really come into it, you're like, okay, now we're going to build it out. It's a different level of experience and know-how, and obviously massive amount of intelligence and smarter people than we are to come on the team to actually build this out so that it doesn't matter, again, if it's Web 2 or Web 3 avatar. It's that person coming in to play the game, and the experience is as if it's as any awesome game that you possibly can have, that you can play. And those are the cool things about having guys like that come on board. And the other thing, and I think it's a testament to not only our project, not only to Lewis, who has created all of these characters and the lore, but also the testament of you're starting to see the migration of people from regular gaming believing in digital collectible ownership. And I think that's you can't overstate that enough, because these guys had options to stay into other big studios. They had offers on the table. And they're seeing what's happening in this space. They're seeing the excitement. They're seeing the community. They're seeing that there's an emerging technology, and it's an ability to actually do something different than, like a guy like Brent has been doing for 30 years. It's like, okay, should I just keep on doing the same thing and go manage 250 people instead of 200 people? Or should I go ahead and say, listen, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a step back and take a chance, because I'm really, really digging the vibe of A, the project, and B, the actual industry. And the industry is finally to the point where I believe that we can look at a lot of the play to earn stuff in the back, in the rearview mirror. I think that we can start accepting the fact that there's so many projects that are looking for mass adoption, as opposed to gating it with 9,999 PFPs in order to play a game, and land that, okay, it's all about making money. Like, it's not all about making money to everybody. You have guys like Alec Becker who are out there saying, hey, I'm so wealthy, and if you want to be as wealthy as I am, this is what you need to do. But not everybody cares about that, right? You have to understand that the majority of people will never experience anywhere close to that kind of wealth. But people can still be happy without being wealthy, or focusing on, oh my God, what's the chart doing every single day, and just having fun. Yeah. And at the same time, one thing that I also bring up quite a bit is, I've got teenage girls, and my friends have kids that are, anywhere between, newborns to going to college. And we all have the same conversation, being like, we throw so much money away at the app stores every single month. Like, we'll never see it ever again. And if there's ways that our kids can start playing some games that have some digital collectible ownership, that even if they don't play the game after a year, you can at least make 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents off the dollar. Just put them up on the market and just be like, all right, whatever. If somebody's going to buy some of this stuff, great. That's awesome. And that's one of the things that I think that, nobody really talks about in our echo chamber too much, because it's actually a younger generation focusing on the emerging technology. But in reality, there are some economics from parents to kids as well, that we don't talk about too much, that is incredibly important. And those are some of the funnels and avatars that we're going to be approaching on a traditional advertising and marketing standpoint to actually say what makes this different. Not, hey, you can make so much money off of it, right? Or crypto or whatever, but it's really just you own the stuff. So if you want to do something with it after the fact, you can, as opposed to not. And I think that those types of messaging will probably resonate with a lot of different people.
Yeah, it's all about community building. Actually, I did a post on Twitter earlier talking about that. Gaming
Very
is
good
always.
post. I read it.
Oh,
Very good
thanks.
post.
Code red. Let's go. Gaming has always been about community. And so, yeah, of course, as Ian said, there's a lot of opportunities to earn extra income by reselling your in-game assets. And if you have rare assets, selling those or trading them or whatever. But at the end of the day, what it's also going to do moving forward is give gamers the opportunity to share with their friends, and to be able, like, if you play Clash of Clans, like, I'm sure you have people in your clan that maybe their bases aren't as good as yours. What if you could help them out by giving them some higher level walls, or giving them, like, because elixir production at your level in Clash of Clans is like you could upgrade one wall every month. All right, it's like it takes so long to get the elixir, especially if you're constantly getting hit by enemy attacks and they're taking it all. Imagine if you could share the elixir to help and the gold to help each other build up your walls and your towers better and faster, or other characters in the game. That's an aspect that I don't think enough games focus on. We focus in Web3 specifically. Most of these projects are focusing on how much money you can make versus, hey, here's a type of content you can create. Here's a type of community you can build. Here are the things that you can give away to your friends or your subscribers if you're a content creator. That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And there was just so much just said from the new COO announcement to your point on like the ownership. I actually wasn't really thinking about it along those lines, but yeah, it's so true. You could actually pass your assets down to like new members or friends or family, like get them into it. It's a really good way to think about NFT gaming. For me personally, it's like, money aside, like even just like getting like 10 cents off of an accomplishment, that still feels good because that's something we've never really felt in gaming before. Maybe in the early days of CSGO or like Rocket League before like things got more strict, if you hit that like lucky thing, but like if your grinding pays off even just like a little bit, it's kind of like, oh, that's more than what I had.
Well,
tell my wife like, look, babe, I'm making money. It doesn't matter how much, but
didn't someone just sell a skin on CSGO for like $160,000?
Oh, I haven't kept up with it in a while, but I know CSGO was like the OG of having like the loot crates that was kind of random and like gambling and for selling assets. That's why I brought it up. Not even the big sales, just like that aspect of like, something could happen. I could grind and like this could like show some type of value, like it's kind of that.
Yeah, last week it was all over Twitter. Somebody bought a weapon skin for $160,000.
That's nuts.
But
I mean, it also like, I know you're a huge gamer, Scott, and I imagine you are too, Ian. But like, I don't have that money to spend on a skin, but like, you'd probably want.
I wouldn't spend. I am a huge gamer. I would spend that money on a skin.
Yeah, but the point is, like, people do like.
But people do
like,
exactly.
Yeah, they really want like those limited editions, and kind of even going back to like the gold skins that you guys are gonna get for like the Genesis. Like, this game reaches global, and
then more than
like,
happy to sell a gold Emperor for $160K. Sure, you can have it.
Just talking to you guys about everything, it just really makes me excited about Web3 gaming too. I brought up on the post, which I know might be a competitor company. I don't remember who it was, but like Trip Hawkins, the founder of EA, also joined a Web3 gaming studio. And then we have Justin Waldron, who is the founder of Zynga. He also is in Web3 now. These people are. My point of saying this is, there's very big, important people that are smarter than me that are looking at Web3 and seeing potential in it, and have been very successful in Web 2 and are saying are seeing the future in that. I was in like a 80-person Discord call and like one of like the groups, and Justin Waldron joined to talk about like some of his vision for Web 3. And I was like, what? Like, this dude's
like some of his Storyverse NFTs.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I bought a couple.
Oh, you were on that space when he was at the NFT Now space too.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, this guy has made apps that probably everybody has played, or has made games that probably everybody has played. Because like from the Facebook, like Word with Friends and Farmville and Mafia Wars and all that, and he's just chilling in these like relatively small spaces and Discord chats talking about the future of Web3 gaming. It's just like, it makes me so excited. And I do think like, while they might be, I don't know if they're competitors or what, it's kind of like a rising tide lifts all ships, in my opinion. You know, like having like that credibility going to the space, I think is going to like naturally like lift everybody up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that there is going to be a migration. I've said this multiple times. I believe that there's about 18 to 24 months that we have as founders and builders right now to be able to capitalize on this emerging technology before it goes mainstream and we're competing against the 900-pound gorillas in the room. So I do think that we have this small amount of window to continuously build and promote in our echo chamber. And listen, even the more we promote in our echo chamber, the more people are listening, right? It's getting louder and louder and louder. And to your point, guys like Justin are coming over and, Storyverse, creating an entire new project, even with all the success he's had with Zynga in NFT world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understanding the technology part of it, and then being able to say, okay, great. What did I learn from being so uberly successful in Web 2 to be able to bring that experience and know-how and be able to create something else that's even more special, where, Zynga obviously is amazing, but at the same time, nobody's done what we're doing,
mm-hmm.
right? Nobody has done what we're doing. There's no official games live that have onboarded millions of people that have digital collectibles on the blockchain, period. And if you think about that, it just kind of makes you think just how early we are. It gets us fired up every single day to know that, every single day we're closer to being, essentially pioneers in this emerging technology. And then at the same time, just trying to do it right. Just trying to do it so that we are able to appease people who are in Web3, but at the same time, not turn off the people who just don't understand the technology, don't understand acronyms, and don't understand, what the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is. I mean, who really does?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we've coined all these phrases, but really when it's all said and done, if you just keep it simple, stupid, right? Strip it down to the bare bones. What's the most important things? Making sure people can have fun within the app. And then at the same time, utilize the technology for a benefit to the consumer. And then at that point, as long as you can just focus on those couple of things, then if somebody wants to go ahead and get into all of the complicated staking and, all of the craziness of DeFi that, there's so much, right? I mean, there's probably, I probably know like 15% of all of the different things that happen within the blockchain because it's so overly complicated. But it needs to be overly complicated. So guys like myself and guys like Justin can come back in and say, okay, great, let's pick apart what is important that we believe is going to be a good consumer proposition and then build a product around it. And I think that you're starting to see the guys like from EA, like Brent, who is seeing that it's like, okay, you guys simplified it. Now I can just bring my expertise into your project and make sure that we get people in, playing the game, having fun. And then it's that petri dish of trying to experiment with saying, okay, what are the perfect synergies and the right formula to explain to a consumer what this means without scaring them off? And that's what we believe we're doing here at WAGMI Games.
Love it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And also, I really like, we haven't really talked about this, but I was listening to your spaces about the short-term vision of marketing, as simple as executing that suit behind you, Scott, or that helmet. Like you guys are talking about almost doing like a Comic-Con dress-up style of marketing, which I think is awesome because it stands out. And then you guys have already been to ETH Denver. You're going to go to NFT NYC. I imagine some other events in the future. And also just the booth that you guys had. I feel like that's so cool. I went to Miami and I went to this other decon, and there's a couple of booths that really stood out. And I feel like those booths really did well. To have a gaming one to where they can actually do the live play is really big. Do you want to talk about like what to expect on these future events?
Sure. So Scott right there, you're not going to see Scott's face.
Yeah.
You're not going to see Scott's muscles. You're going to see the human emperor's muscles and his armor, his Nephi armor.
But the armor is bigger because of my muscles.
So what's cool is we've got a guy at Stroud Industries. His name is John. and Scott had reached out to him a few months back. Scott's idea was, let's go ahead and bring that cosplay and the in real life characters to life, so that it's just another one of those ways that people can get excited about the franchise. So Scott reached out to John, and John just fell in love with everything that we were doing, and he's like, I want to work with you guys. And basically, the Emperor helmet that we actually had on display at ETH Denver that Scott has, that was probably one of the showcases amongst the 75 things we had in the booth. It was like, dude, look at that helmet. That's so cool. So what we'll have this in our hands here in the next week or so, the entire custom costume of the human Emperor.
And his rifle.
And the rifle, all lit up.
Dude, the rifle.
Really walkable. So Scott's going to be in.
You got to be careful in New York, Scott.
Dude, that rifle is literally 5 feet long.
5 feet long.
It is huge.
Omega rifle.
The Omega rifle.
Yeah. So literally, we're going to, and I'm speaking in New York. So
awesome.
When I go to speak, Human Emperor is coming with me. So I guarantee you, nobody's going to even understand anything that any of the panelists are talking about, because everyone's going to be like, dude, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So, is he just going to stand on stage by you?
What I would like to do is also like, pretend like I'm just a mannequin, like, and just stand very still and then randomly move and like, oh, what the hell?
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, and like just basically talk to people. And I don't know if you've ever been to Universal, but they have like Megatron and Optimus Prime costumes, and they just talk so much smack to the people walking by, and everyone absolutely loves it. And that's kind of what I envision when we have our gaming events. There'll be people playing the game, and Human Emperor walks over, and maybe another character, and just literally have fun, bust balls, chat, and just engage with the gamers that way. And it's an exact thing that we talked about the other day, Ian, where we just want to get the reaction from the people who see us to say, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like that's the reaction you get from a gamer that shows that they really like what they're seeing. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's badass.
and
awesome.
And that's important to talk about, Scott. Wow, that's cool. Wow, that's badass. Not how much is that NFT?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to be a part of that because it's cool, and then the game looks fun, and then everything else is to come.
And the Human Emperor too, we're gonna have a QR code on them, so people can literally take a photo with me, and then scan the QR code to download maybe or pre-register for the app. Or we can change that QR code. We can be like, hey, we're gonna be at. So for example, I collect my Funko Pops. They're all around the top of my room.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you go to like a Comic-Con, there's always special editions for the Dragon Ball Z ones. Well, what if we did special edition type stuff when we go to events, and we did it through a QR code? Hey, take a photo with the Human Emperor, scan this code, and get this, in-game asset.
Yeah.
So what's the term called? Proof of attendance.
POAP.
Yeah, POAP.
Yeah, proof of attendance. I got a few at Miami. I actually got one of Porsche's. Theirs was more of like an allow list. I did get one. I got a hot dog there, which is really random.
Nice.
There's a big hot dog truck, and you scan it, and you got like airdrop on Polygon. There's a couple of others, but yeah, this proof of attendance is really cool because the only way you can get it is by being at the event. So it's more for me. It's more of like a memory.
Yeah,
it's not something I even really care about selling. I mean, it hypothetically could be valuable, but it's like, oh, I remember that. I remember when Scott was wearing that suit, and like he gave me that QR code, and like it gave me this.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting to, Chris. Is it doesn't always have to be like a monetary value to a POAP. It can literally be that experience. I was there. I met the Human Emperor. I got a photo. And I got this memento from that occasion. That's why I collect things, right? Because the collection is the memory. My wife busted my balls a lot this week. She was busting my balls because I told her I was about to have my 2000th day logging into my Dragon Ball Z game. She goes, what do you get? I'm like, you get a special character you can upgrade. She goes, so if you have that character, everyone knows you're a loser. I was like, thanks, babe. And then she comes in and she's looking at all my pops. She's like, you're out of control. She goes, this room used to have plenty of space. Now there's no space. I keep pointing and people can't see how my pops go around. She goes, you literally running out of space. It's just like on fire and busting my balls. But she knows how happy it makes me to have collectibles. And so she, she gets me them for Christmas and my birthday.
I love it, man. I mean, I have a much smaller scale. I mean, in just frame, you can see my like some of my comics. That's V Friends that I got from minting. This is the Porsche Pro app I was talking about. There's actually like a little. This is for their NFT project. There's
Very
actually like a
cool.
little car in here. So I
Yeah.
collect a few things. We have an important question in the chat, and after I read this, I do want to encourage in these last like 15 minutes, if there's any questions that the chat wants to ask, feel free to. I do have one more question for myself, but is it pronounced Ian or Ian? Because personally, I thought it was Ian, and then I followed Scott's lead because he knows you, and so I transitioned to Ian.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced Ian. And here's
Okay.
what's so funny is we were out to dinner with a couple friends of ours, and they were like, "Oh, there's this one series that we were watching that's really cool. It's called Mythic Quest, and it's from one of the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And it's like this spoof off of a game studio." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm the CEO of a game studio. That's right up my alley, and I love that actor. Let's go ahead and watch it." And literally about 3 minutes into it, all of a sudden they're like, "Da da da," and it's all about Ian Grimm. I'm like, how did he pronounce his name? And literally, I'm just over here like hearing Ian, and I never hear Ian. It's always Ian.
Yeah.
So it's just so funny that the protagonist in that specific series right now happens to have my name, but it's pronounced the way I pronounce it. So it's just super fun, but it's pronounced Ian.
You actually caused the problem because I binge watched season 1, and it's really good. Actually, it's giving me a lot of ideas for what we're doing.
Perfect.
Which is great. But I found out later his name was Ian, but that was his dad's name, and he hates his dad, so he changed it to Ian.
Got
it.
That's funny.
And I thought it was even funnier because he does talk about the I and Ian,
Well, one thing that Web3 has done is really, I mean, I've always like had friends in other countries because like gaming, but like I feel like I more consistently talk like with like Web3 people that go by their names. And all that to say, like there's some names that look like they're pronounced one way but aren't. Like one of the guys that's on our spaces a lot, his name is spelled, I should know this, I guess, but it's like Jan. So like for me, it's just like, oh, that's John. But no, it's Jan, I think, I don't remember where he's from, but like, so there's a lot of names that like don't, like they look like one way and go the other way.
I remember when I was a personal trainer, I had a consultation, my first Joaquim, but it's spelled, it looks like Jao Quinn. I'm like, "What's up, Jao Quinn?" He goes, "It's actually Joaquim."
What's like, up, Aaron?
Yeah.
Aaron.
Aaron. Yeah, exactly.
I had a bad one a couple of weeks ago. So embarrassing. I don't remember what it was, but like I pronounced it so awful, and I got called out so bad for it too. But well, I'm just bad with pronunciation. I do have one more question, and if chat has any, I'll pull it up for us. This goes into kind of like what you're saying with the anime, or just any kind of like long-term. What's your like long-term vision for everything for WAGMI Games? And that can go from like, I really want this to like, this is just speculation. But if you just wanted to like get us riled up, because the other day, somebody at the very end of the space came up and like started talking, asked a question, and then you guys started talking about vision. And I know for me, that got me really excited because I was like, wow, this could go so many different directions. Like I could be experiencing Clash Royale and Attack on Titan, and like, and like all these other things that were like really that like I'm a nerd over, So like, what would be your like long-term vision for WAGMI Games?
Well, I would actually like to jump in first, Ian, if that's okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I think that you could start to see what our long-term vision is from ETH Denver. I think ETH Denver was the start of the long-term vision, at least from my point of view, because I have my little piece of paper. I'm going to show it, Ian. I was like, we're going to have a booth at ETH Denver, and I want it to look like this. And I drew this like really crude drawing of like the Human Emperor and, this little area to play the game and our comics and, our merchandise and stuff like that. And my long-term vision that I see in my head was like, I want to see events where people are showing up, they're wearing their own cosplay, they're bringing their decks, they're battling each other, and, to be the best, right? Not to win the most or get the most exclusive NFTs, like battling to be the best. Because at the core of gaming, that's what it is. And I would like to see us not just doing gaming conventions, but also comic conventions, because we have a comic, we have our characters. I would love to see our characters turn into a story, something like a series on Netflix, and it tells the story of the characters. And it just brings people that close connection to our game that I have to so many of the other games that I've played growing up, and can be able to continue this story for years to come, and be able to continue to evolve the game, and then create a second game that has the same characters. Maybe it's a different play style or a different game type, and then have interoperability of those characters from game 1 to game 2.
That's
And
awesome.
just, yeah.
That'd be
So
cool.
my overall vision is I want to create that same, that's cool, I want to play that game excitement that I've had from my favorite games growing up as a kid.
Yeah, and for me, it's all about the franchise. It's really just all about creating something for somebody based off of the characters in the story, right? We talk about owning our own IP quite a bit, and Lewis has created all these characters from his head and the backstories. And there's so much that goes into a lot of the characters. Like, for example, he studies aliens actually came and built the pyramids. And he also studies everything having to do with religion. So he's got all of these different aspects in his head as far as history and speculation of history that he's put into these characters that have so much depth. And really, when it's all said and done, it's how can we leverage all of that depth of characters in addition to the game and / games, right? We don't plan on just having one, because part of the NFTs is interoperability. So you can basically port your characters from one game to the next, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take us a little bit of time to get there. Obviously, we're focused on game number 1. I don't think anybody truly understands just how much work goes into a game to do it right. When last year or 2 years ago, when you already heard about, okay, game number 1 and game number 2 and game number 3, game number 1 has to be good first before you can even get to game number 2. But that is the vision, to have it where we've got, WAGMI Defense, and we've got game number 2, and you can get the Funko Pops, and you can go to Comic Cons, and you've got cosplay and people walking around. And then, you actually have just so much that goes into a franchise. And like Scott says, eventually taking the story that they're creating in the comics and potentially doing some sort of a series with the characters, and really sky is the limit. And that's part of what we've been trying to build, is just the franchise, so that it's not just a game, because a game could get boring sometimes. But if you have all of these different ways you can bring people into your ecosystem, that's essentially what we've been trying to do here. And that's our vision.
That's exciting, man. Like I'm really excited to be a part. I know we're at the end of the video. I probably should have said this earlier, but like I actually don't own any assets yet. But I've definitely been looking at the comics and been looking at the Genesis collection, which I think is good, because being just on my channel, I don't want it to look like, oh, I'm trying to promote this project. Like I own nothing on the project right now. I'm definitely going to buy, though. Especially, I think the comics being able to drop you like a special chest every month, like that's such a cool concept. That I'm excited about. I'm also excited about just these events that you guys are going to. I'm hoping to make it to NFT NYC. I'm not 100% sure. I actually work for a NFT company. So like we've done a couple of events so far. My boss is actually at NFT LA right now. So hopefully we can make our way down there and meet you guys. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
100%.
Well, you'll know it's me.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to spot you from the crowd, Scott.
Yeah, I'm actually flying out to San Fran first thing in the morning for a couple days of meetings over at GDC. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What I've actually interviewed, not on my channel, but on another channel, Ethan Keyboards. He's like one of the organizers for NFT LA. Awesome. He's a really cool guy. He's been on our NFT Now Twitter space like every other day for the last few weeks. So it's really cool guys over there. So hope that goes well. Let me make sure there's no comics before we kind of wrap up. Looks like it's just a bunch of people are very excited. If you guys aren't following these two, which I'm sure you are, if you're not, you should be. I actually have Scott's what he streams on that channel. He has another YouTube channel too, of course. Humanity on this YouTube title, so you can just copy and paste that to find his YouTube. Ian, where can people find you? I know on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's probably the best, at IanBentley.com. Pretty simple.
Okay. Ian Bentley, and then of course WAGMI Games. You want to follow the Twitter. They do WAGMI Wednesdays, Twitter Spaces every single Wednesday. If you're not familiar with my channel, here it is. Feel free to like this video for the YouTube algorithm so more people can learn about WAGMI Games, more people can learn about Scott and Ian's vision and just everything to do with this project. Smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm going to shave my head at 6,000 subscribers. Just announced that like a day or two ago, and I think we're like 5 away. So that's gonna be fun. I really appreciate you guys for coming on. Yeah, it's really close. I really appreciate you guys for coming on. This is fun to me, you know, like just to have your vision on here and to be able to talk about things I really like to talk about. This was an interview that I was really looking forward to. And if you guys have probably seen, I've been tweeting a lot about WAGMI Games, and everybody's because like there is a lot of like financial stuff tied in with NFTs. I think people were asking like if I was trying to like promote it or whatever to like flip, and I'm just like, no, I don't own anything yet. I'm just really excited about their vision, and I'm really excited about the game. So I've been pretty hype about it, and I will continue to be.
Well, we appreciate that, Chris. You know, and I think it's having us on. I really think it's cool for you to talk about that, because that's been one of the hard things about crypto, especially, is you never really know if somebody truly likes a project or if they're just promoting it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we try to be as transparent as possible. And a lot of the news that we announce, you know, we wait until it's actually news, not hype of news to come. And I think that's helped a lot with our community and building trust with our community and bringing more people into the community, because, you know, we announce things as they happen, not like, hey, we might do this 3 months from now. It's like, nope, yeah, here it is. This is what happened. Let's move on to the next thing. Here's what happened. And our community is always so interested to see what alpha we bring to WAGMI Wednesday. Like Ian, you know, we always have something to bring to WAGMI Wednesday, just for a little bit of alpha, a little sneak peek of something new.
We try. So AJ, quick bullet points. I'll just recap real quick. Just as far as the actual project itself, we are a sci-fi strategy game. We're going to be on both app stores. We're in pre-registration right now, so you can go to our website, literally pre-register on both the Apple and Google platforms. We're going into our soft launch here this summer, and at that point, people are going to be able to play the game. Look out for, we're going to do our founders packs, as far as, you know, the original NFTs or digital collectibles that are going to be within the game. We're going to probably launch that pretty much right around the time we launch the game, so people, when they actually purchase something, they can go play them immediately. You know, so we wanted to do that. And as far as all the exciting things that we have going on, it's constant. We just hired 2 people from EA. One person from Respawn, actually. He's our COO and general manager. He's actually worked with Bungie. He's worked with Apple. He's worked with DreamWorks. And he was a executive director over at EA. He was a founder. He actually founded Industrial Toys and sold it to EA. So he's basically been through the gamut, and bringing that kind of leadership on board to this game is basically, you know, re-emphasizing the fact that we're all about mass adoption, making sure that the user experience is most important, the game experience, the Web 2 part of it, and the Web 3 part of it is just something that is, you know, the aspect that we believe as far as emerging technology is important, to be able to now have literally people own their digital collectibles and trade them if they want to, not come into the game and say, all right, I'm in it just to make money. And we believe that we're going to onboard millions of people with that philosophy into WAGMI Defense. So I think that was 5. Is that good, Chris?
Yeah, that was great. I was looking, I had some I had like talking points lined up, so I was just making sure. And yeah, it looks like, I mean, you did a great job on recapping that.
Okay,
so
great.
There's, I guess the last thing, we did talk about it earlier, but just side note there. So there's the Genesis NFT collection currently, and then there's the comics. The comics, you can actually, I know staking's not the right word, but you can lock it up, and you'll be able to earn an in-game chest every single month, and that is concurrent. And then there's the Genesis NFT, which grants you access to all the items that will ever be in the game, right?
The original founders packs. And the other thing that we did not touch on is the utility of the Genesis NFT. We're taking actual income that comes in from the game and actually creating, like quests and pools, and saying, okay, we're going to aid in the ecosystem of this project. So here's a few things that we'd like to know from our community. So if you have 1 or if you have 100, you come into our dashboard, you lock them up, and then based off of how many NFTs that you have, you will get proportionate amount of each of those reward pools as we release them. So, and
Wow.
that's basically based off of the taxes that we're actually creating within the game. So as more revenue comes within the game, expect those reward pools to get really, really big as part of the utility of the Genesis NFTs. So, and then Sammy, real quickly, WAGMI Wednesdays. So we had Esteban last Wednesday chatting with us. And then this Wednesday, we are going to have Brent on board. So please join us on our WAGMI Wednesday Twitter spaces. And then that way we actually will have the opportunity for you to hear from the new team members and ask any questions that you want.
So I did do my own due diligence before having you guys on, and I did know that about the statement you just said. I just know with so many things up in the air right now with like the US that I didn't know if you'd feel comfortable talking about it. So I'm glad that you just talked about it on your own will without me like prompting that. Because
we're on the up and up with everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I just it got me even more excited that you went out of your way to talk about the utility and everything.
Well, it's an important part of utility. It's just one of those things that we can't tie direct revenue directly for residual income for people not doing anything. There needs to be some sort of an action that happens to aid in the ecosystem and have all those reward pools so that people are active within the community with their NFTs. So, we've had to tweak it along the way to make it so that it's as ironclad as it possibly can be on March 21st, 2023.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. Thank you guys. Apparently I just hit 6K. So next time you guys see me, I'm not going to have any hair.
Let's go.
So thank you guys on the 6K.
Mohawk, man. Let's go.
Thank you guys for joining the chat and just like being here the whole time. And so it looks like I have some head shaving to do. If you guys ever want to come back on the channel,
shave your head, but in the back you have to leave a W because 6K happened while we were here.
I'll just shave. I guess I gotta shave WAGMI into the side of my head. If you guys ever want to come back on the channel, feel free. It's an open door to you. I really like what you're building. I'm also, help with NFT Now, not financial advice, Twitter Spaces. If you guys ever want to come in there, we usually have a couple hundred listeners. And then I need to join you guys on one on your spaces, which I have been in the spaces. I just lurk. I haven't been talking. And then I'd love to join you guys on Scott, one of your streams on Playing the Game. You've been sending me out invites. I have a busy schedule, so it's always up in the air. But I would love to join you guys and hang out and play some WAGMI Defense.
Hell yeah, man! I know everyone's schedules are all over the place, so I'll keep sending them. And when you can join, you're more than welcome.
Heck yeah, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, 2 kiddos, man, and a couple of jobs. Just got and I know how you guys work for Web3 company, man. It's if you're in Web3, everybody wants to work in it, but then you work in it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Like it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, the one thing that I did point out to Brent and Esteban, and I think we gave them a little bit of a leeway this past weekend, but there's no nights and weekends in crypto.
Oh no,
you're working 24/7. Let's go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sweet. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, chat. Everybody who was here, supported. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye. See ya.
Thank you guys so much.